Chapter 9. Revealing Jemmy's plan to trick the villain. So we're going to figure out what Jemmy's plan actually is. Hold Your Nose Billy popped a clove of garlic in his mouth, ground it between his yellow teeth, and helped himself to a veal pie. So the author is giving you a picture of this guy, right? Of Billy. You already know that he what? He smells. So they're saying, get this picture in your head. You know, from the pictures that we've seen already, he has a big beard, right? He's kind of big. He's probably not very clean. So get this picture in your head. He popped a clove of garlic in his mouth and ground it between his yellow teeth. Nothing like garlic to clear the head and fend off the plague. Cutwater, give the lads a ration of breakfast. The scrawny outlaw sliced off 2 thick pieces of coarse bread. He draped a salt herring across each slice. Eat hearty, little fellers. This smelly stuff, Prince Brat glared at the bread and herring. It's not fit for flies. Why, we eat it regular, worms and all, said Cutwater, picking the bones of the pheasant. I'll starve first, Prince Brat said. Suit yourself, Cutwater snickered. This is the first time we've feasted off the king's own table, and there's hardly enough for me and Billy. Jemmy sat on the bed straw beside the prince and contemplated his breakfast. He examined the bread closely, hunting for varmints. The prince, he knew, had never been starved enough to pick out wildlife from his grub. Eat, he whispered. I can't find any crawly things in it. The bread's stale, grumbled the prince. Stale enough to patch a roof, but I've scoffed down worse. The prince began to nibble around the edges. Hold Your Nose Billy glanced over and grinned. Take a jaw of garlic, whipping boy. It'll improve the taste considerably. Cutwater wiped his thin, greasy lips with the back of his hand. Billy, how do we know the prince ain't laid a trap for us in that message? He could have said one thing and wrote another. Where'll we find someone to read it off to us? Jemmy lifted his chin to a regal height. Anything that's regal is like royal. So if he did that, make your head do it. It's like he put his head up, like very important. You doubt the word and honor of your prince? Insolent oafs, curs, I'll have you horsewhipped. Cutwater yanked Jemmy to his feet. Who you calling those names? I'll flog your hide, pink-ass salmon. Hold Your Nose Billy pushed him aside. Keep your wits. It's worse than common murder to lay hands on a prince. Start making a prediction. Start thinking about what you already know about that rule, that no one can hurt the prince. And who do they think is the prince? Don't say it out loud. Think it in your head and begin making a prediction. I'm going to read that part again. Jemmy just yelled to them, I'll have you horsewhipped. Cutwater yanked Jemmy to his feet. That means he grabbed him, so he's standing up. Who you calling them names? I'll flog your hide pink as salmon. Hold Your Nose Billy pushed him aside. Keep your wits. It's worse than common murder to lay hands on a prince. No need to break any more of the king's laws than we have to. If it comes to a flogging, there's his whipping boy. Who's the whipping boy right now? The Prince Brat. The prince's eyes widened and his face blanched white. The prospect of taking a whipping himself had never occurred to him. But, sir, it wasn't me who called you names, Prince Brat said. Cutwater gave a sudden cackle. Sir, it is now. That's more like it. But tell the prince here to keep a civil tongue in his head. Prince Brat shot Jemmy a poisonous look. The garlicky outlaw was leaning closer to Jemmy. See here, Prince, it's not that we doubt your word and honesty. Not a bit, but all the same. Let's hear you read off that message. Jemmy turned away from the man's breath and began to read. No, no, lad. Let's have it from the bottom to top. Read it backwards. I do hope for your whipping boy's sake you don't stumble and trip, as if the real words ain't on the paper. Jemmy shrugged. It says, and he's reading from the bottom, Son obedient your obedient son, said Hold Your Nose Billy. Keep at it. Jewels and gold of cart full of ransom a demand they. He's reading it backwards because if he's reading it forward, he can make something up. I can pretend that these words say, bring them gold, they are very nice. I can pretend it says that, but if I have to read it backwards, that's pretty hard to read it backwards correctly every time. So he's reading it backwards to them. They demand a ransom of a cart of foal. The outlaw himself began to stumble and trip over the words. Aye, that's the ticket. Jemmy read the message through backward, and then a second time before the hairy outlaw was satisfied. Now then, he said, all we got to do is get the message to the king without getting nabbed in the act. Simple, declared Jemmy. Send it to the castle in the hands of my whipping boy. Who's his whipping boy?
The Brat.
Prince Brat. So what is his plan?
He's gonna send
Cadence?
He's gonna send their location.
He's going to send Prince Brat to the castle with the letter. So do they need to come after Jemmy?
No.
No.